Hello and welcome to my Dawn of War 3 beta video. This video is covering the recent beta of Dawn of War 3, which took place April 21st on Friday and went to Monday the 24th, this past Monday. And so this video is basically meant for people who did not have a chance to play the beta over the weekend. If you have, you more than likely have a good idea of whether or not you're going to be purchasing this title or not when it comes out on the 27th. So if unfortunately you were not able to play, this video is for you. Starting off, the differences between Dawn of War 2 and Dawn of War 3 is now there's actual base buildings, so you have worker units that will produce buildings, either infantry, heavy infantry, vehicles, upgrade building, or various other support structures that they can do. In Dawn of War 2, you were not able to build buildings, but instead you had one main building that would produce all your units. You would upgrade that single building and you'd be able to produce better, different, more varied units from that singular building. Resource collection is the same between Dawn of War 2 and Dawn of War 3. There are still those requisition nodes that you need to capture. However, now the power and requisition nodes are put into one single node that you can build attachments onto for requisition or power, instead of having different nodes for power and requisition. There are now stealth areas that will hide your units from vision and can only be seen when other units enter that vision or with certain abilities that units have. There's actually a pretty cool voiceover line that most units have when entering concealment, letting you know that when they enter where you have clicked for them to move, that they will be concealed and not visible to the enemy team. So in Dawn of War 2, you had a hero unit that you would pick before the match, but now in Dawn of War 3, you get to select from 3 heroes during the match. You do not start with a hero, but you earn elite points over the course of the game, and there's a resource point usually in the middle of the map that will give you extra elite points so you can get out higher tier hero units faster. A few problems that I had with the game, just really minor stuff. So like with the army painter, it felt like it took a really long time to cycle between units just to see how the different colors and tints looked on each unit, because you select a different unit, you'd have to sit there for a little bit, and then it would go down, you'd come back up, and then the unit would be there. It could definitely be a lot smoother, because if you're trying to get a specific color or a specific look for units, it's really tedious to have to wait in between, and it just doesn't feel very smooth. But again, it's very minor. I'm sure it will be patched out, or even if it's still in the game, it's minor inconvenience. With the matches, it felt a lot like whoever was able to go out and capture resources and hold those would essentially win the game. Now I know that's basically how you're supposed to win the game, but it felt like there wasn't much else you could do once you had lost once that middle ground had been lost, and you were pretty much forced to move back, because now your enemy is gaining more resources than you are, and you don't have the resources to overcome their defenses. So it feels very one-sided after a certain point. You do have higher tiers of hero units, starting at 3, going to 7, and then 9 points, which is the strongest hero unit you can put down on the field. These can definitely change the tide of battle, but I feel like, again, if you're behind, it's really hard to catch back up. It's hard to have a good comeback from a game, just because you do not have the resources to outmatch or outgun your opponent. With that being said, the hero units are really cool. They are fun to use. They are varied and complement your playstyle in a very nice way, depending on how you like to play. I mostly played Eldar, and so that's where most of my experience is. And with the Eldar, I felt like the Banshees, which is their melee unit, were really weak. I usually send them in, and they would kind of sit there for a little bit, and then they'd just die. So it's probably just me being bad, but I felt that they were a little bit weak compared to other melee units. The game itself did feel really good. There is definitely a lot to focus on, and it has been a while since I've played an RTS, so that's probably a big chunk of it, but it always felt like there was something to do. I felt like I had never really managed my resources very well, but it felt good knowing that I always had something to do, and I wasn't just sitting there waiting for something to happen. With the requisition and power nodes. I didn't like how you have to constantly either pick between requisition or power. I know you can have both on the same node, but it was just kind of annoying having to always select, yes, I want requisition, yes, I want power, because you're gonna want both anyway in the end. So I feel like it's a little bit unnecessary how you have to click that you want the requisition and that you want the power. I feel like when you capture the point, it should just start getting you requisition, and then eventually power becomes available as well, instead of you having to click in, wait for that to upgrade to requisition, and then doing power as well. It just feels like unnecessary micromanagement that you could be spending your time doing something else, either managing your forces, and it's a big part of an RTS to be able to micro and macro, but I feel like some things are unnecessary micro and macro when it should just be a feature of the game, and you should be more focused on managing your units rather than managing what resource you want out of a specific node. The abilities that units have are absolutely necessary, and they can very easily win or lose you a skirmish between two different units. Using the grenade ability for the standard Eldar units, the standard ranged Eldar units, is amazing, as it knocks down enemy units and separates them while also dealing damage. So during the time they're in the knockdown animation, they're flying all over the place, your units get the opportunity to just fire on them without being fired back on. Being able to use your abilities is definitely a skill. If you do not have that skill, or you're not very good at using the abilities, you are going to lose against someone who has mastery over using those skills in the right situations and in the right areas. As far as the upgrades, I didn't feel like they really had that big of an impact like they did in Dawn of War 2. In Dawn of War 2, every squad that you make could choose between a normal bolter, flamethrower, las cannon, plasma, majig, whatever. And so I felt that each unit had a specific role rather than just upgrading damage, defense, and so on. You had to strike a very fine balance between, do I want my units to be stronger, or do I just want more units? It didn't feel good to have to choose between, yes, I want my units to be stronger, or I just want more units. Depending on the situation, you could want either or, but the uniqueness of each unit was certainly lost with that choice. As far as things that I would like to see, definitely more races. I'm waiting on Chaos. They're my favorite race to play in Dawn of War 2, and I'll be excited once they're added to Dawn of War 3. I'd also like to see the Tau. They're pretty neato. More hero units would be cool. Different skin variants. They already have some in the game. They have a pre-order one, and then they have just ones for leveling up your hero units. Other than that, Dawn of War 3 is a great RTS game that doesn't really change all too much from the previous titles. It is by no means the next big RTS, but is something to do and a nice change of pace from other RTS that are on the market. I have to say that the game never really held my attention for very long, as after a few games I would move on to something else, and I never felt like I had to just play one more game. I do not plan to purchase the game on release, but will wait for a sale later down the road. If you have other games that you are currently into, then I would also wait for a sale, but for long-term fans, I would highly recommend you pick up Dawn of War 3, as it is more of the good stuff that you have experienced in the previous Dawn of War 40K titles. With some awesome graphics and some improved gameplay, I know that fans of the series will greatly enjoy this one.